was reading through, and I'm not sure if you guys have had a chance to read Yvonne's story yet, and she's here to talk about what is really a rarity in the ocular melanoma world, where she was diagnosed as a patient with brown eyes. She's definitely in the minority here because, as we know, the statistics say blue-eyed, light-colored-eyed, light-haired, typically, or just blue-eyed people tend to be the most popular patients who are diagnosed. So Yvonne is here all the way from.
Meridianville, Alabama.
She was diagnosed in 2019 of December, and she was told that she had choroidal melanoma, and it was just at an eye exam. Big surprise. And she shared a beautifully written story. If you haven't read it yet, I would take the time on Facebook or Instagram, go read her story. And she volunteered to share her story here with us live. So we are happy to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you for being here. So, Yvonne, can you tell us a little bit of what led to this surprise diagnosis for you?
Well, well, I was wearing Dollar Tree glasses, the 1.25s for a little while, and I thought, okay, it's just a little bit. I just need to read a little closer, and so I was wearing all these 1.25s and 1.50s, and that worked for a little while, but eventually I said, I have to go to the eye doctor. Let me double check this. Let me get myself together. And when I did, it was quite a shock. But for the most part, and that my right eye was my good eye, my 2020 eye. Can you imagine? So I got checked. Went to the eye doctor. I got checked, and just a regular eye exam, and they took a picture of my eye, which I didn't know that even existed. So that was good. And they immediately, he sent me to a retina doctor because he said he saw something, and not to get alarmed. And of course, I wasn't. But, you know, when I went to the second doctor, he did tell me that I need for you to go to Nashville, Birmingham. And I thought, okay, okay. So that's how my journey began.
You basically had just some kind of gradual vision changes that eventually led you to the eye doctor, and the eye doctor was able to do some tests, thankfully, which is good.
Yeah,
I'm glad they didn't blow you off. And so they
definitely
did
not.
these tests and they sent you to a specialist. Is that right?
Right. So I went to an oncologist, first a retina doctor, and then he immediately, the next day, he set an appointment in Nashville, and I went. And I went to a series of tests, obviously. And then it was told to me that, you have choroidal melanoma. And I thought, what? I was like, wait, what? What is that? Because I didn't know what it was, never knew about it. And that's when, of course, I got Google crazy and had to, it says not to do that. But, I went everywhere and kind of was like, oh my goodness, let me look, let me see what's going on. Overload of information, obviously. Um, but it was my journey is so amazing, I have to admit. It's so amazing.
So, can you talk to me about what, like, with the choroidal melanoma, do you remember where it was located and what treatment options that your doctor offered?
Definitely. So I look back. Let me come back to the beginning the reason why I went to the doctor. I can look back now and notice that I had flashes, and I was like, just blinking, blinking, and I was like, okay, well maybe I looked at the light too long, or my computer too long, because we stay on the computer pretty long, and I was trying to blink, blink, look 20 feet, blink, blink again, but that wasn't working, so I didn't know what that was. That's why I went to get checked. Um, but when I went to Nashville, of course, I had so many tests being done, and they ended up telling me that it was in the back of my eye, in a clear middle of my vision. So that it was a big concern because you can, of course, with eye we know that we can become blind. So it was a small tumor, and I was told whether or not to either we can. It was during the holidays. It was December
Yeah,
2019.
December's
So
already an emotional time.
exactly. And he said, wait a little while. If think about it. It was after the new year. And I said, okay. Once he told me what it was, we have an options. And those are the brachytherapy, if I said that correctly.
Yeah, brachytherapy,
Brachytherapy.
brachytherapy.
Yeah. So, and I said immediately, as soon as what's next? Because we've got to get a handle on this. I have to definitely know what my way ahead is, because it's not gonna take me down. I got this.
Yeah.
So I went through a series of tests. Obviously, we know that, and immediately I was scheduled in March of 2020, and you remember pandemic. And
Yes,
I
all the things
remember,
happening.
and I remember landing in. I was away. I had to go. My first thing was I have to see my new grandbaby. So me and my husband flew to Arizona, and saw the new grandbaby. I know, right?
I know. Come visit. Come hang out.
So hot, so hot.
Oh, yeah. That's true. It is. To visit your new
Uh-huh.
grandbaby before your treatment?
Exactly.
Okay.
A few days in, and I was set for surgery, and it was a hot mess. When I say a hot mess. It was a tornado in Nashville when I landed.
Oh my
So
goodness.
I thought my surgery wasn't going to happen, but it happened and it was okay. There was damage in Nashville, but the surgery was, it went well.
Okay, so you had a smaller tumor. It was in the back of your eye. I
Exactly.
guess from what I'm recalling from the biology of the eye, the myopa is the field of vision in the very, very back of your eye. And so it must have been close to the myopa and the optic nerve, is what I'm guessing.
Optic nerve, absolutely.
Yeah, there, but it was small enough and they treated it with plaque. Do you remember what was your experience like just in Nashville where you were treated? Did you have to stay in a hotel or did you stay in the hospital?
Well, when we got there, we actually stayed overnight, and then the next day I had the surgery early in the morning, and it was I can't believe the technology they have. Am amazed by it. And so, of course, it's a gold. It was a gold, kind of plaque. And then they put the beam, the radiation in it. And I'm telling you, I was amazed. I am still amazed of technology that's actually out here for this kind of cancer. And it's in the back of my eyeball. So, of course, I was like, how are you going to do that? Like, you're going to turn it around. And yes, it was incredible. So, I had it on for 3 days, and I had to go back to get it surgically removed. So, and of course, the only thing you think about when they're taking off your bandages is, who am I going to see first? Because I know I have to see somebody, regardless of the lights and the orange colors. I need to see somebody, making sure that I can have, my sight is there, because they'll tell you, you may lose your sight. There's so many things that may come, as you're trying to fix this tumor and trying to shrink it, something else, you can lose your sight. So it's a chance we all take, whoever's done it,
Hmm.
it's a chance you take, but you don't want that tumor around because it can metastasize. So my biggest thing is, regardless of how this turns out, I have to get this tumor under control. I'm not waiting for it to grow. I'm not waiting for it to spread. Let's take care of this. So
Okay, well, so after you had treatment and you had the plaque taken out, were you able to retain vision? In it was your right eye that was treated, right?
that's my right
Okay,
eye.
right eye buddies.
Yes. Yes. Well, I'm half blind in my right eye right now.
Okay, now it's half blind. Okay.
Yeah. So what happened was, after the surgery, I went through a series of struggles. I didn't know what my eye wanted to do. That's why I just named her, my right eye mama, because she didn't know where she was going. She was just there. And I'm like, okay, so I can see out my left eye, but she had a little bit of issues, something where, glasses could fix. But my right eye, she was going every which way, everywhere. So I went through double vision, blur vision. Um, I was trying to get glasses. I went through 4 prescriptions of different kind of glasses just to see if I can even drive, you know. So that was a big deal for me. Obviously, always on the go, working and trying to just maintain. Um, so yeah, it was a series of glasses and trying to see straight, and the rain and
Oh my.
the fog.
And
Okay,
you have a
so
lot more weather
yeah.
in Nashville than I or in Alabama than I do. Like, I mean, we get weather in Arizona, but like not as bad and not in ways. Um, so you had a lot of adjustment in the last since you had your treatment,
Absolutely.
and
Right.
um, and you've had a lot of vision adjustments to deal with, which that can be super stressful, as all of us know, whether you're adjusting to a single eye, so monovision because you lost sight or you had your eye enucleated, or you lose vision on some degree, like, and it changes and it goes up and down, like, can be super disorienting. So
Absolutely.
I'm glad that hopefully it's settled out a little bit for you right now.
Castle Biosciences is a proud sponsor of this I Believe podcast. Castle's innovative uveal melanoma tests provide valuable information about the risk of your eye cancer spreading to help you and your healthcare team individualize the management of your disease. To learn more, visit castlebiosciences.com.
After you were diagnosed, you said your tumor was pretty small. Did you, during the treatment, were you given the option to do a biopsy? And are you comfortable sharing those results?
Yeah, so they did take a biopsy and um, definitely was cancer. And I know the cancer is a little different than what they say as a stage one, stage four. I believe it was a stage one. Yeah.
Okay, so
So,
there it's usually class 1A, praying
exactly.
positive, class 1B, praying positive or negative, and then you've got class 2, which are almost always praying positive, but occasionally you have a praying negative in there for class 2. It's a little weird. Um, but so you
So,
are saying
yeah,
one.
I believe, yeah, yeah, yes, it was.
Okay. This category. I think if you're praying positive, it might be up a tiny bit, but it's still much lower risk than if you were, which is great. So with the class 1 diagnosis, were you able to follow up then with a medical oncologist to have scans done, like for watching your liver and your lungs?
Oh, yes. I've had PET scans, CT scans. I have one coming up. My doctor, my oncologist said, no matter what, for the rest of my life, this is what I need to do. Go every year. Um, and then, of course, at this point, I'm taking Aliyah injections, and I've been doing that since the fall of last year, and I'm going every month. So, this is the thing. I am half blind right now in my right eye. I have a vast shadow over it, so I can't see, like, I can only see like people's waist down, if that. I cannot see. Every time they tell me, come on, what letters do you see when I go for my eye exam? I'm like, I see nothing. You don't see my fingers? Mm-mm, nope. so
Oh,
so
there's a lot
I'm
of adjusting with
working.
the scans and the eye appointments and all of those things.
Absolutely. So at this point, that's where I'm standing at. I wear glasses for distance. And I land up having onset cataract immediately. So I had cataract surgery and I had laser therapy. I'm telling you, I'm so surprised that my eyeball is still in my head because it took a beating. This poor girl went through so much and she's still rocking and rolling with me.
Well, I think that's a really good way to think of it. And I love that you kind of have personified your eye, like in some way, to kind of just like, hey, like let's be on this journey together. Because I
Absolutely.
think I think sometimes for patients it can start to feel like your eye is somehow your enemy. And really, it's a part of
Mm,
us. And if, whether we lose it because of enucleation, or whether we keep it after treatment and we're dealing with all of the roller coaster of things that come with post treatment. um, I think
absolutely.
that if we can really just kind of get to that place where we can embrace our whole selves, and whatever aspect of our eye has changed, then I think that can be really empowering. So I love seeing that you've done that, because it shows in the way that you talk. Okay, so talk to me a little bit about, I guess, just your general reaction to getting diagnosed with this cancer to begin with. I know, like, when you wrote in your story, you were extremely confused because the doctor told you this is something you get if you have blue eyes or green eyes, like not really brown eyes. So, what was like? How did you cope with, I guess, being one of the minorities in the minority? Like, we're already a minority, and having
Right.
this
So
cancer to begin with.
I was in shock, I have to say. Like I said, I've never even knew that you could even have eye cancer. I'm like, what? Eye cancer? I didn't even know cancer could go that far. It's not the ignorance of it. It's just that I've never known anyone to have it. So, as you go through it, you're learning that it is out there. And I didn't know anyone. And so that was a lonely journey because you always want to compare stories. Oh, well, how did your eye go, and where are you at? And you kind of have you both kind of recognize what you're going through. But I didn't have that option. I didn't have no one really to talk to but my doctor and my nurse, the nurses. And let me tell you, they were fabulous. They always are. Because you kind of like become family with them because you see them more than you see your family because all the appointments, and
Yeah,
the
for sure.
drive. But we'll talk about that one later, the drive. But for the most part, so I did a lot of research, and as I tell you, not to overload on Google search and trying not to, but you have to because you have to have a better understanding because at the end of the day, your choices. I wanted to see my options.
Yeah. If you were talking to someone in your position who is really surprised by this diagnosis, whether they have blue eyes, brown eyes, green eyes, like whether they're, wherever they are, if they're just really surprised and they're feeling that inclination to want to educate themselves, but also just kind of feeling the anxiety and the what ifs, what would be maybe something that you would say to that person to help them just to cope or just to know that, like, they can get through that phase because that phase can feel so overwhelming and draining at the very beginning.
Absolutely. My thing is, don't panic. Try your best. My daughter, she's in the medical field. She's like, Mom, make sure you have a list of questions for your doctor. Know um, what you're going to be faced with. My doctor was a matter of fact. He wasn't giving me rainbows and stars. He said, this is what you have. This could happen if you don't do this. If you choose to do, the brachytherapy, this is what could happen. So understand that you don't want to give, no one wants to give you a rainbow and a story. I want to know what I'm dealing with. Make sure you get your questions answered and that you move forward because the real story is you're going to go through it. No one else is. And you can have an abundance of family, and trust me, we always love to have family support and friends that become families. And but at the end of the day, you're walking it. You're walking through the struggle. So get your information and make sure, again, ask questions. Very important. And know what your options are because at the end of the
Yeah.
day, it is your choice. It is your choice whether or not you want to take brachytherapy, if you want to take, the laser therapy, whatever you choose to do, it's going to be your choice. But you need to know what's the good and the bad that's coming with it. Because, no
Yeah.
matter what decisions we make, whether we keep our eyes, whether the tumor grows, whether it stops growing, for the rest of our lives are changed forever. So,
I think that's such a good point. And I love that you shared like just about advocating for yourself and owning your journey because that's so important.
absolutely.
Okay, so you've mentioned a couple of the things that have been challenging for you. Like you mentioned all of the vision kind of roller coasters. What are
Yeah.
you dealing with, I guess, today that you're kind of in the midst of overcoming these days?
Well, let me just share with you because even though as you see, my glasses are off because close distance, I can see closer with my glasses. It's for distance, but it's a hot mess because I could bump into a wall. I could. My perception is way off, and if I'm grabbing something, those are the things that I'm dealing with. And after being, we're all independent mommies. We're doing our things, women, wives, mothers. We're trying to just keep it steady. And even though in my back of my head, as I was going through all of this, I was like, okay, no, I'm gonna go back to my normal. It's gonna happen. I'm gonna drive. I'm gonna do my thing. No, it did not happen. Like I say, a hot mess. It was a hot mess. What I had to do is learn my new norm, and my new norm is you need to watch where you're walking, girl. Make sure you don't fall. Hold on to rails. Don't bump into the side of the walls. No, you have to take that extra step while you're driving. Perception, park your car, look around. You may have to park at the end of the parking lot so that you don't hit nobody else. Or hit, a car or something to that effect. But that's the norm. So I have to make sure that, even though I'm struggling with it, it doesn't make me angry because this is what I have to accept. I just have to deal with it. And, I laugh a lot about things because it's hilarious. To me, if I don't laugh, I'm going to cry and fall apart. And it's okay. It's okay. But not all the time.
Well, I love that. I think that's a really good perspective to have and to keep. Is just to keep that, like, keep the things light that can be light, and also just keep
Absolutely.
learning as you go, because it really is kind of an adjustment to whatever expectations have changed. Whether it's just that you thought you were going to have vision and then suddenly you don't have any vision, or you have partial, or your vision changes all the time. So I
Absolutely.
love hearing how you've adjusted to that and how you just kind of like allow yourself to roll with it.
Aura Biosciences is a clinical stage biotechnology company focused on developing precision therapies for solid tumors that aim to preserve organ function. Our lead candidate, Belsar, is currently in late stage development for primary choroidal melanoma and in early stage development in other ocular oncology indications and bladder cancer. Our mission is to grow as an innovative global oncology company that positively transforms the lives of patients. For more information, please visit us at aurabiosciences.com.
Would you say that you have any, I guess, for scan nerves that you might have come up when you have appointments for your eye? Do you have any kind of coping techniques that you use, like anything that is maybe a stress reliever for you that you prefer or kind of like fall back on?
Well, driving to Nashville, I have to say, I thank God that I chose Nashville because the drive is relaxing. Every month, thank God my husband it was taking me. We had to just kind of work our schedules where we both are able to get off to drive. He would drive me to the doctors, and we would have that sober moment. So spiritually, I'm highly spiritual. I believe in prayer. I believe in staying positive. I believe in as we get in the car, the anxiety for me, it jumps. I'm like, okay, here we go. What's gonna happen when I get there? It's not all about I'm trying to anticipate what they might find. The tumor is active again. Oh my God, the pressure in my eye, because that's a big thing. With the pressure in the eye, that could rip my retina. I'm gonna go blind. So 101 things run through my head, but I take that drive. It's smooth sailing, and I pray. I pray. That's my peace, and so my pray. Because if I don't, I'll be a hot mess.
Well, I love that. I think that it's just so important to find the things that you can do consistently to kind of fall back on to protect your peace, so to speak. So I think that it's great
Absolutely.
to have ways that you kind of like routines almost that you fall back on to help you cope. So how has this kind of affected your family relationships and the way that you view important relationships in your life?
Well, so this is another thing that I never take for granted is sharing my diagnosis with my family. I'm not hiding nothing from my kids. I have three grown children. We have seven grandchildren, and our family is big. So you know what? I let them know what's going on a daily because I'm not going to lie to my children and paint roses and gardens because this is the reality of it. And they're grown. They understand. Like I say, even the grandbabies chip in and be like, "Well, you want your glasses? Can you see where?" I love it. So they have been the most supportive family that you can ever have because quick text, hey mom, how you doing? I love that, and I'm doing fine. My kids know that I'll rock and roll at any time. They know, so just be real. Don't. I was gonna say, don't fake it with your family. Tell your family what's going on. Let them know how you feel, what you're going through, because they need to know. Sometimes, just that I got you makes such a difference. A text makes such a difference because remember, when I had it, I was actually during the pandemic. I wasn't around nobody, so people would
Yeah.
text me, family, that meant so much. I think that makes a difference with the family, or friends, anybody. So,
No, I think that's such a good point. Um, so I guess just based on kind of the way that you talked about it, it's safe to say that you value those relationships maybe a little higher,
it's
like a
taken on
deeper meaning, I think.
a deeper meaning because it's what it is. You
Yeah.
know, it's my everyday. And, they love mommy, they love abuela, and they're like, okay, it's okay. We got you. So, but you enjoy every day. Laughter, I laugh through the storms. I will dance through the storms at any time, and they know it. So,
Yeah, I love that. I wanted to just ask you, your family or maybe other people in your in your space, have brown eyes or who are from, I think you mentioned like the Latina community, the African American community. What would you say to that community of people?
Well, this is my thing because, here we are as women, parents, and I'm not just going to say women, but okay, I'm going to say all women, most women, especially mommies and daddies that are, single dads. We take care of everybody else in the world and we do not take care of ourselves. And I tell people this is about self care. We have to take account of us. If you see something funny in your eye, go to the doctor. Eyes checked. Get the picture because that's what I did. I got the picture and I was like, always have that opportunity to take care of yourself because if you do not take care of yourself, you can't take care of anyone else. And those little ones depend on you all the time. So health, be a little selfish. Hey, my eyes are squiggly. I'm seeing flashes. I need to go to the doctor. Can you stay with my babies while I go to the doctor? Yes, you can. And those are the things we have to self care 100%, especially during this pandemic as well. We take too much for granted our health. Without it, we will not be able to take care of no one else. So that's important. So that goes with the Latinas, the African Americans. It goes with anybody. Get your eyes. Don't take that for granted. It's so important.
I know you're coming up on 2 years and your scans, so I'm sure with the anxiety of that, that can feel a little funky sometimes.
Absolutely.
But we are definitely like rooting for you and hoping that things turn out
Thank
well
you.
for the rest of the year and moving forward.
Thank you.
Do you have anything, I guess, maybe to kind of close this out that you would want to share with our audience?
Well, I am trying to come together and do a walk down in Big Spring Park in Huntsville, Alabama, and we're working on that for the ocular melanoma. Of course, we're doing donations all to a cure in sight. I will definitely let everyone know moving forward how that would work, but I'm trying my best to get that started for the first time in Huntsville, that Alabama, that anybody would know, or even have a walk for ocular melanoma. So we're hoping and praying that works out well, so moving forward. And I'm also going to try to get with eye doctors to see if we could do a free screening for the communities
Yeah.
that are not able to go out there and get their eyes checked. So those are my goals moving forward, and to just use my platform at this moment to share my story because I'm okay with sharing my story. Because guess what? I can't sit back and say, "Oh, why did it happen to me?" Mm-mm. Why? Why it could happen to me? Why am I special? I'm not special. It could happen to anybody. So why not? So moving forward, I'm gonna use my platform for that.
No, I love that. Using what has happened to you to do something, like do something with it and
Yes,
share whether it's
absolutely.
whether even if all it is that you feel like making an impact, if you feel like making an impact is to share with 5 people, then I say do it. If you feel like making an
Absolutely.
impact is to go and host a walk and do a 5K or a fundraiser or whatever it
Absolutely.
is that you feel like you want to do for awareness, then go do that. Because I think that if we can find purpose in what we're going through, it makes it just that much more doable to like be in it, right? And to be surrounded by people
Absolutely. Hmm.
supporting us along the way. So I applaud you for that, Yvonne, for getting to that space so quickly, and also for just having that strong desire get this out in the world and talk about it in your community. So I really hope that goes well, and we would love to help you in any ways that we can with
Thank
resources,
you.
linking you up with people. This is the last question. I just wanted to ask, do you have maybe a Bible verse, an affirmation, or a favorite song that you would love to share, like just kind of that you kind of fall back on, I guess?
Well,
I know I just
um,
opened a can of worms, I can tell.
yeah, yeah. It can be a bunch of stuff, but my main thing is, we love music, salsa merengue, we love music. So I just say that the biggest song that I know my family enjoys too is Mark Anthony's Vive la Vida, which means like live your life. And if you actually translate it in English, if anybody was to really listen to that music, you'll dance anyway. You're going to dance. Put it on for the babies, they will dance.
Oh yeah, it's a
But
good
it's
song.
saying live your life and enjoy every moment of it because you know what? We only have one. So let's make the best. One eye, no eye, two eye. Okay, we can do this.
I don't have any other major questions for you, but I just want to thank you again for being
Oh,
here.
you're so
Um,
welcome. Thank you for
time
having me.
and for your vulnerability and for everything just to be open with your story and just help us in raising awareness for ocular melanoma and for all the patients like you, like me.
Likewise.
So I'm going to let Yvonne go and we're going to end the
Okay.
recording.
Bye. Thank you.
Goodbye.
Bye bye. Thank you.